mundo cambió. Se rompieron los esquemas y se anularon las fronteras.
Más que nunca necesitamos líderes que transformen la educación. Líderes que lleven al equipo a alcanzar su máximo potencial, innovando y creando nuevas propuestas.
Profesionistas apasionados por cambiar sus vidas, a través de los 2 idiomas de mayor impacto en el mundo y la trascendencia de las culturas.
Profesores que permitan que más mexicanos tengan oportunidades a nivel global.
Necesitamos que más mexicanos hagan historia, explorando el mundo y viviendo nuevas aventuras.
Nuestros jóvenes merecen oportunidades globales.
Por todo eso,
nos transformamos y juntos
escribiremos una nueva historia.
Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm just going to quickly go ahead and check that people can hear us. Can people hear us? Yes, could you just maybe in the chat say, yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Orlando. Fantastic. Awesome, fantastic. Thank you, Nancy. So welcome today. I'm very excited today, actually very excited because today marks the end of excuse me, apologies. So today marks the end of this webinar series that we've been running for quite some time. Actually, I don't quite remember how long now, because it feels like we've been doing this for like decades now. But remember that this is something that we start doing somewhere at in the middle of the pandemic year. This is something that we've been running for our International House university community, and we're incredibly happy to have you here, to have us to have you join us rather for the end of this academic series. Today is the end, the final webinar. We've been getting feedback from you guys for quite some time now, so that we know what we could do moving forward. We're going to bring you surprises moving forward, of course. But this is all part of that first step towards that university community that we're building every single day and every single month that we've been doing this, right? Anyway, enough about me, enough about what how excited I am here today. And I would just like to introduce you to somebody who probably needs very little in introduction, because most of you I think know him already. He's also been giving quite a few webinars with us this year also, and he's quite an important member of the training staff International House University. So I would just like to say hi to Ricardo. Ricardo, can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear.
Fantastic. So this is Ricardo Fajardo. So again, he probably doesn't need introductions, but I'm just going to say, we're very happy to have you join us in our very last webinar for this series, Ricardo. So thank you for being here today for that. Ricardo today is going to talk about a topic that actually we briefly introduced in the previous webinar when we talked about Clio. He's going to be talking about lower and higher order thinking activities and tasks, right? And skills. I think that's a topic for today, Ricardo?
That's correct.
Right. So anyway, so great to have you here, guys. And I'm going to sneakily disappear into the ether, Ricardo, and I'm going to let you go ahead. And remember, guys, that as always, Ricardo is going to give his webinar, and then if you have any final questions that maybe haven't been answered but you'd like to ask him, you could go to the Q&A section at the bottom, and then we'll come back to that at the end. All right, so all yours, Ricardo. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. So Great. Can anyone confirm that you can see my screen? Just to make sure that everything's working properly as usual. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, excellent, guys. Thank you very much for that. So basically, yeah, today, as Orlando was saying, as previously you were given some information with regards Clio, and a very related topic is understanding what people know as lots and HOTS. Yes, we will see what they are about. But obviously, it's not just about me today, guys. As you actually watch me give this very short webinar, you have to do some things, guys. I really like interacting with people, yes, as opposed to just like me talking all the time and you just listening all the time. So I would like you to do these 3 things as I give the webinar to you guys. So number 1, I would like you to react to what you read. I would like you to react to what you watch, and feel free to send, yes, any messages in the chat box, yes. And eventually I will kind of now and then be looking at your comments and reacting live, yes, on them. Also, when we're talking about skills, I want you to start thinking, because the idea of when we receive information, guys, is to immediately utilize it for our purposes, for our context. So I want you to start thinking which skills from those that we will refer to you perceive as those that you are already using with your students, and maybe to identify which skills you might want to activate with students in the future. So it's not just listening to me, but also reacting and participating, yes, as you want. All righty, guys. So are we ready? Let's just check that the chat box is working correctly. So I would like to see a big yes if we can start talking about lots and HOTS. Yes, excellent. Yes, everybody's excited. I can see even Lucy with a happy face over there. So that's really good. Okay, so let's talk about this. And as I said before, this is going to be a little bit interactive. So at some point, I will stop and ask you some questions, and I will ask you to react about them in the chat box. All right, so first of all, this is the first thing that you have to think about. So think about your lessons, yes, your everyday teaching. And I want you to start thinking about cognitive skills or thinking skills that you think you have, yes, maybe used or activated in your classroom. And here I have some examples just to start activating prior knowledge in these guys. So maybe a cognitive or thinking skill could be analyzing. We ask students to analyze. Maybe we give them a picture. You say, what's going on in the picture? So they are analyzing. Yes, another one could be judging. Oh, we show them a picture and we say, do you think that the person is happy or sad? Why? And then justifying. Which of these 2 meals do you think is healthier? Give me 2 reasons for it. Yes. So when we give students tasks, they are activating different thinking skills. So here we have only some examples of this. So analyzing, judging, justifying. I will give you 2 minutes to start with. Yes. And I would like you to just write in the chat box which other thinking skills you think you have used or activated in your classes. So as I said before, please feel free to write ideas in the chat box and I will react to them. All right, feel free to write. I'm opening the chat box now. So think about some of the activities that you have given your students and think about maybe the thinking skill or the cognitive skill that is behind such activities. Yes, if you're not very sure, don't worry, just give it a go, give it a try. Yes, this is something that we're going to be learning together. Okay, so I see Antonio saying like the role play. There can be many activities or many thinking skills happening in the role play, right? Claudia says predicting. That's a very good one. Yes, maybe they're doing this when they are doing some reading activities. Nancy says discussing. Oh yes, we're discussing. We're giving students, yes, speaking activities all the time. Lucy McKenna says describing. Oh yeah, that's another, yes, skill that we activate in students. Yes, Nancy says debating. Oh, I love that one. Yes, in debating, we can actually analyze and justify as well. Yeah, Arturo Uribe says guessing. Yeah, maybe we need to create some guesses based on a sentence, based on a picture. Yeah, that's very good. Very good ideas, guys. Okay, so that's a very good start. That's exactly what I would like you to do, guys. This was a very good start. Critical thinking skills, says Lucia. So yeah, definitely. And this is a very common skill to try and activate in our students. All right, a very good start, guys. So let's learn together about all of these and how to integrate them in our lessons. So first of all, I mean, we need to understand these two big terms. Yes, lots and HOTS. So as I said before, they are thinking or cognitive skills. So those are the terms that are usually linked, yes, to these two terms, yes, lots and HOTS. So let's explore them little by little, all right? So first of all, lots. So what is LOT, first of all? So this stands for lower order thinking skills. Another way to understand lower order, yes, if you want to find a very easy synonym, is exactly the adjective that I have used, easy. So it's activities that activate easy thinking skills, yes, skills that do not require, do not demand a lot of thinking, yes. So when we see something and then it doesn't take too long for us to react to an activity, then we could say that we are activating lower order thinking skills, right? And by definition, guys, in our classes, this should take place before more complex activities or skills. But obviously there is a theory behind this, guys. When we want to use LOTS or lower order thinking skills before the other ones, there is a very important principle in the teaching learning procedure that in a way supports this idea of using easy tasks before more complex tasks. And the word that I'm thinking about is scaffolding, yes? So this comes from a scaffolding principle. But maybe you've seen this word, but maybe you have not quite understood or digested what it means. So again, I would like to see what you think. What is scaffolding for you? There are many different ways of understanding scaffolding, and I would like to read your understanding of this. So what is to scaffold a task, or what is the concept of scaffolding in general? How do you understand this concept to begin with? Again, as usual, feel free to write in the chat box, all right? And let's see if your ideas are okay. And I will react again to them, all right? So feel free to write what you think scaffolding is about. All right, I'm opening the chat box. So I'm just waiting for your ideas with regards scaffolding. Okay, Leticia says starts from 0 and starts getting difficult little by little. Yeah, Leticia says this, and maybe not necessarily from 0, Leti, but maybe from 2, so you can move to 3. Yeah, so that's the idea. So it's starting at a low point and then moving up. Yes. Arturo Uribe says building help. Definitely. I really like this idea, Arturo. So it's building help. Students need some help to do some activities more successfully. And sometimes without this help, they might succeed, but not to the same extent. So I really like that definition, Arturo. Mariel Romero says helping students with activities in different levels or difficulty. This is really, really important, right? Especially if activities are becoming more and more difficult, they need some help, right? Nancy says, building students' learning. I totally concord. Lucia Aldana says, you check the students' previous knowledge and begin to develop more skills. That's another good, yes, way of looking at scaffolding. Very nice ideas. Okay, let me come back to this and let's see what this is all about. And again, we have different ideas. There is not just one version of scaffolding, right? Nancy says, using what they know and make new concepts or create new concepts. Yeah, all of those are valid options, guys. Let's see what this is all about. So basically scaffolding, as you mentioned, some of you already mentioned this, is the idea that we need to build learning little by little. Yes, so we need to, yes, kind of put pieces together so students actually can make sense of what they are doing much better and much more easily. Another way of looking at this is to go from easy to more complex. And how do we do that? Because maybe that's what we are interested in, yes, in this, yes, webinar. Okay, I understand scaffolding, yes, Ricardo, but how do I do that? And sometimes it's so simple and maybe we have not noticed, yes, how to do it effectively. Let me give you a first or an initial example of scaffolding. Imagine that you are in a speaking lesson, guys, and you have the topic of traveling. Take a look at these two questions that I just prepared as an example. Do you think that I am following the principle of scaffolding by using these two questions in this suggested order? I want you to take a look at the questions and think, is the one, yes, easier than the second one? Do they imply different thinking abilities and different depth of thinking, you think? And if you see both questions, yes, are about traveling, but they are slightly differently worded, yes, if I may say that. Some people are reacting to this, yes. Nancy says, yes, from simple tenses to conditionals. That's one way of looking at it, Nancy. Well spotted, excellent. So something that you scaffold in this case is the grammar level of difficulty. So yes, well scaffolded, right? Patrice says, yes, big jump. In what regards, Patty? So when you say big jump, what makes a difference? Yes, could you possibly be more specific? So again, both questions are about traveling, but if I want to use these questions, I need to decide the order in which I'm going to deliver my questions to my students so they actually do a better job. Yes, easy grammar structure to a more complex one, Patty, thank you. Yes, Arturo Uribe says you can use number one as an introduction. Exactly. Thank you very much, guys, for your ideas. Quite useful. Claudia says from yes or no question to information question. Excellent. Very well spotted, Claudia. Yes, again, so sometimes we are not paying attention to these things when we are designing our activities, guys. And this is very important. We need to scaffold. If they can handle the first question, this prepares them for the second. And sometimes if I do the other way around without me realizing it in my lesson planning, my students might struggle a little bit. I'm not saying they will not succeed, guys, but if you start with something too hard, yes, maybe they are not, yes, cognitively ready for the challenge. So try to go from simple to more complex. This is an idea of scaffolding, yes, in a speaking activity. So as you said, and let me see my suggested answers here. The first one is, first of all, a general opinion question. Yes, do you like traveling? Yes, I do. No, I don't. It's very simple. It's a natural reaction to something, yes, that then we will talk about in more depth. And take a look at the second one. Like, it's time to go deeper. And even I'm asking for a justification. I didn't just ask, okay, so which city do you like? Paris and London. That would be even easier. But like, where would you go and why? So again, guys, something that you need to think about when you want to move from lots to hots or from simple to complex is to what extent, how much information, yes, the limit of kind of difficulty that I'm giving, yes, my students exposure to. So this is something for you to be really, really aware of. When you're planning, just make sure that you're always scaffolding, always grading, yes, moving from easy to hard. Let me give you another example of scaffolding. So here is another example. And again, I want you to take a look. This could be maybe a written activity that you want students to do, or maybe spoken. If you want to see it as either, that's fine. And you have the instructions here, like use the adjectives given, yes, and compare Mexico City and London. And then I give them some options like big, noisy, cheap, expensive, and I even give them an example. London is more expensive than Mexico City. So how is this, again, the same question is still there, guys. How is this helping my students? How is this following, yes, this scaffolding principle? Can you give me ideas? Why can this be maybe another good example of scaffolding? I continue reading your ideas, guys. Okay, the chat is done. Okay. All right. So Nancy actually previously wrote, it can be talk about vocabulary and then your wishes, then talk about, yes, then they speak more. Okay, good. How about this activity, guys? So is this following the principle of scaffolding? Am I helping my students by providing this information? How do you react to this, please? And again, you might want to see this as a writing activity or as a speaking activity. It doesn't really matter. All right, feel free to chat. I'm sure you're typing, so it's okay. Take maybe some seconds, take a minute. I would like to definitely see your reaction to this. Yeah. Okay. So Nancy says both skills can be, in this case, I guess it's more lots. Yes, it's more lower. Why do you think that, Nancy? Oh, yes. Okay. I mean, you identify use and then rewrite. Okay. Yeah. So basically, yes, it follows, yes, the scaffolding procedure because they have an example to begin with. And this kind of gives precise information to students about what I am expecting. Just the mere fact that I'm adding an example, guys, yes, makes the task easier. They have more visual support. Ergo, the activity, yes, is expected to be more successfully, right? Nancy says drilling. Yeah, that's good. Definitely. It will encourage some drilling. Yes, if it's a spoken version, the example given could be drilled so they have an idea of how they are supposed to actually say the sentence here. Any more ideas, guys? Okay, Arturo says it looks more like a statement. Maybe they are, yes, waiting for an example, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yes, I concord, Arturo. Yes. And yes, so maybe, yes, this is a good example. And again, this should, in a way, trigger ideas, yes, in terms of what they could do. And we can take it to the very next step, guys. So, because I am just suggesting some adjectives here, but we can actually verbalize or write in instructions to students, like they can actually use other adjectives different from the ones I'm exemplifying with, all right? Lucia says, it is scaffolding. You can add more complex adjectives. Yep, definitely. I really like that. Thank you, Lucia. Yes. And again, this is just exemplifying. So the idea is to, yes, facilitate my students' work as they do the activity. Good reactions, guys. Thank you very much. So, okay, Lucia, or sentences. Yes, definitely. Let's move on, guys. So these are some examples of what we consider scaffolding. So it's helping students do a task more effectively. And this is the main principle behind LOTS and HOTS. Lower order, like easy thinking or less demanding thinking skills, to HOTS, like more sophisticated, more demanding, yes, deeper, yes, more complex cognitive or thinking skills. So, but we need to move gradually from one to the other. All right, let's move on. So basically here we have, yes, even another example. So how about this one, guys? Is Mexico City a better place, yes, to live in than London is? Now I want you to start thinking about it. And then I have the question, give at least 3 reasons for your answer. if I give this to my students, am I thinking about maybe a lower order thinking skill, or am I thinking about a hotter, a higher, just because it's hot, a higher lower thinking skill, and why? And do you think I could scaffold this a little bit more? Yes, because again, sometimes we just design our activities, but we are not maybe reflecting, yes, on the effect of the instruction and maybe the lack of something, yes, that something is missing when I'm teaching. So take a look at this, yes, example, guys. I have a question and I have a piece of instruction. Is Mexico City a better place to live in than London is? And give at least 3 reasons for your answer. So is something missing? Yes. Can I, yes, maybe scaffold this much better? Yes, I think Patty, okay, Patty Garcia says it is a higher lower level skill. There is no example given, yes. And yeah, and I'm asking to justify, yes, this, so it's definitely higher, lower, yes. Well, I think that you mix the words in here, Patty, is higher, yes, order level skills or thinking skills. Nancy says, again, general question, then ask students to support their answers. So I think it's lots from question, then higher. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The first is kind of a lot, but the second one, the question is more of a high, yes, questioning here. I totally agree, Nancy. Thank you very much. All righty, guys. So this is the main concept, yes, that we need to think about. So next time you give your students any activity, usually productive activities, maybe you are noticing that, maybe writing or speaking, think about scaffolding, think about this concept of lots to HOTS, yes, and double check, triple check that scaffolding is actually taking place. Okay, I see Antonio says, you can challenge the student starting a discussion, providing a statement. Yeah, I agree, Antonio. That's actually a good idea, right? Okay, very good. Good idea so far, guys. Okay, let's move on. So now that we understand this concept, so we said that a lot is a lower order thinking skill. So what is a hot? Is higher order. Again, and this should take place after easier skills or easier activities. Yeah, moving from easy to difficult, I insist. It's a very easy concept, I think, right? So but let's see how you react to this, guys. Here I have some verbs that have to do with cognitive skills, thinking skills. And I want you to categorize this into which 3 you think are lots, lower order thinking skills, and which 3 you think are HOTS, higher order thinking skills. Please react to this. So consider this like, what's more difficult, remembering or analyzing? What's more difficult, applying something that I see or creating something from scratch? So give it a think, guys. And I would like to see some of your reactions. If you want to group the 3 of them in one go, that's fine. Or if you at least want to say, I think this specific verb is more of a lot or is more of a hot, feel free to actually use either. But I want you to react to this, right? So what kind, yes, of skills are these? Are they lots or are they HOTS? Okay, I will go to the chat box and see your answers as we do this. So we have Nancy, we have lots, understand, remember. Okay, Daniel says, I think remembering, understanding, and applying are lots. Okay, Nancy says, evaluating, creating are HOTS. Okay, Patty says, remembering, understanding, and analyzing. Yeah, they are HOTS. Oh, I see some discrepancies here, guys. Yes. In general level, maybe you're thinking about, because obviously if you think about, yes, a very low level of learners, maybe you can say that most of them could be hard. So I could understand some of these differences. Lucia says, high order thinking skills are the skills that are used in come from Bloom's taxonomy. Thank you very much for that, Lucia. Yes, I actually took from Bloom's taxonomy. Nancy says, I'm having problems on analyzing and applying. Okay, yes, we'll see to that. Yes, Nancy. Yes, definitely. So let's take a look. So when you see this verse, you have to, I think this is very important, guys, you have to link this with activities. And then when you think about activities that demand this, it's easier for you to determine if they are lots or HOTS. So for example, general questions asked for memory, like, when was the last time you had a holiday? You activate it maybe easily, like, oh yeah, I remember my last holiday was 2 years ago. Yes, like pre-pandemic, for example, right? So think about activities that demand this. But how about, for example, yes, analyzing, look at the graph, yes, and decide which country will have the best 20-year future based on the, yes, money they have, yes, and the kind of food that people eat. Oh my God, that's a little bit harder. I need to definitely take a look at the data. I need to analyze. I need to consider a number of factors. So that's a little bit harder than remembering is. Yes, is this making sense, guys? So again, you need to link, you need to find, yes, a connection between the verbs and the activities that you're doing. Different activities could actually match with the same verb, all right? Another could be like creating, guys. Like, for example, an activity that I can think about when I'm creating is, okay, guys, yes, for tomorrow, you have to decide, yes, on a short essay on why your family is the best family, yes, in the world. Wow, you have nothing, so you start from zero. You need to create, yes, very, very, yes, much information in here, as opposed to applying. I'm going to compare this with this because some people okay, about X and Y. Please write a similar, considering the grammar and the lexis that you see in the example. I'm not creating everything from scratch. I'm applying, yes, some of the content that I can see in a sample. Applying something that I see, yes, like follow an example or using information, yes, should be easier than creating something from scratch. Okay, let me reveal, yes, what this is, because I don't want to complicate your lives that much, guys. So basically the 3 at the bottom are lots and 3 on the top are HOTS, right? So just not to, yes, complicate this very, very much. And so the next mission is very simple, guys. I want you to choose one lot and one HOT. It doesn't matter which. And I want you to think about, yes, examples of tasks that you think can match with either. I gave you some examples already, yes. Think about your own context, guys, your own lessons, maybe the last speaking lesson you did, maybe the last writing lesson you did, maybe the last grammar lesson you did, and there was an activity which now you can relate, yes, to. Yeah, so think about an activity and please write it in the chat box like, I think that when I was doing this activity, I think my students were evaluating something. Or I think when I did this activity, I think my students were remembering information. So think about at least 1 or 2 activities and please match those with the verbs you have here, all right? I will give you a couple of minutes as usual. Yes, and let's see your ideas. I will react to them, yes, and I will say if I agree, yes, or otherwise. Okay, let me take a look at the chat. Okay, so in the chat, we still have, yes, some ideas in terms of the classification. I would like to see, yes, examples now, because this is what really matters, guys. How can I apply this in my everyday teaching? So Nancy has the first example. Remembering, I guess when we read or when a video, I ask question about what they remember about it or to use it for introducing grammar. Yeah, that's fine. Yes, watch the video. Okay, so do you think that they were happy in the video? So this is remembering. Yeah, that's a good idea, definitely. Daniel writes, normally when doing grammar, I give my students activities where they apply what they have learned. Excellent. And an activity, to be even more precise, Daniel, is now complete the sentences using the grammar we saw, right? Or maybe correct the errors in the following sentences. They are applying previous grammar. So it's easier because they have seen the rules before, right? Patty says, in a word puzzle about vocabulary, it could be analyzing. Well, it depends on what they are doing, Patty. So we need to be even more specific regarding the activity. What are they really doing with the puzzle? Is it only completing the puzzle? Are they creating the puzzle themselves? So it depends what's going on, yes, with the puzzle. Nancy says, applying, rewrite sentences using the word given. Excellent, that's very good. Yes, it could be creating to a certain extent. Yes, so it could be actually a combination. It depends on how much they have to rewrite, how many words they already have before them. Very nice, sentence transformation. I really like this activity. And this activity is very common in, yes, exam prepping lessons, guys. Good idea so far. Patty says, reading a definition and they have to come up with a word. Okay, and what's the word that relates to this, Patty? What is the verb? Yes, what is the actual cognitive skill here? Daniel says, create. I give my students the opportunity to write an essay, story, sentences. Fantastic. Yes, very good. So they are creating, and obviously they are also personalizing, yes, activities by doing that. Thank you very much, Daniel, for that one. Yep. So as you can see, guys, these are things that sometimes we are not really aware of, or we do not stop and revisit when we are planning our lessons. So my suggestion is, let's start doing that. Yes, take a look at the level that you are teaching, take a look at the stage of learning they are at, and react to those. Like, is this easy enough? Is this difficult enough for the level I'm teaching? Can I provide, should I provide more scaffolding, yes, to this activity? Do they need that? Yes, those are questions that we should wonder in every single lesson we give as we want to apply this. Okay, so very good options, guys. Let's practice and let's see if we understood this, yes, very, very well. I have some examples on my own. Time to practice, guys. And these are just random, yes, activities that I found, yes, on the web, and some that I have used myself in my lessons. I will, yes, present you with 9 different tasks or activities. And I want you to think about, is this a lot or is this a hot? And please, yes, be ready maybe to even justify this, right? So for example, let's do the first one together. Classify the musical instruments into 3 sets. So you see, yes, a box, yes, with a lot of musical instruments, and you have 3 different categories. Yes, so like classify, and then which features do they have in common? So once you classify, you can say, oh, it's because these instruments do this. These instruments, yes, have this. These instruments don't do that, for example. So if we take a look at the first one, guys, what kind, yes, of skill is this? Is this a lower order? Is this something easy to actually do? Yes, or is it a higher order thinking skill, guys? What do you think? So thinking about the first one only. Yeah, yeah, Nancy says it's a lot, is classify and compare. Yeah, as simple as that. You have all the vocabulary there. Yes, the vocabulary has been given. So there is no need to create, actually. It's there. You just need to classify. Danielle agrees, and that's a lower, that's a lot. Claudia agrees. Okay, guys, so please go on. I will give you just 1 minute, a quick minute, guys. Take a look at then 2 and 3. And then start thinking, are these lots or are these hots? give it a think, guys. I will mute my microphone for just 30 seconds, and then I will start looking at the chat box. What are these, yes, examples of? All right, guys, I begin to see some answers already. Very good. 2 is analyzing. Yeah, I think so. I think 2 is analyzing. Yeah. Daniel says 2 is lots. Okay, I think that there is, yes, a discrepancy here. We'll see that. Yeah, and 3, Daniel says, is a hot. Yes, imagine you have no electricity. How would it affect your life? Oh, that requires some thinking, not an easy one maybe to answer, right? Yeah, Nancy, I concur. Yes, they need to solve a problem. Yes, Claudia says 2 is analyzing and evaluating. Yeah, it involves, yes, those skills as well. All right, guys, very good options. Thank you very much for giving it a go. And let's see my suggested answers. Yes, I think you're definitely right. Yes, so the first one is more of a lot. Yes, it's just classifying. You have everything there. So it's easy to do that. Yes, it should be easy. As opposed to, let's now, yes, start doing this in our heads, guys. How can I, yes, actually change this lot to a hot? Maybe if I say, yes, okay, I want you to think about 9 different instruments and classify it into 2 or 3 different categories, but I do not give them any instrument at all. So they need to create, yes, they need to actually, first of all, start thinking about the instruments themselves. So that's harder. This one is lower because the list of instruments is already there. They only need to classify, right? So you can play with this in your head. How can I go from one extreme to another one, from one part of the spectrum to the other one? Numbers 2 and 3, as you said, they are hot because they demand more evaluation and analysis. It says, read your partner's report on industrial paints. Comment on how clearly it was written. Oh my God, and you need to give reasons for this. Like, I think that it was not very well written because, but I think it was well written because, so you need to explain and you need to, yes, give clear ideas here. And the last one is justification. Yes, how would it affect your life? Well, I think that if I had no electricity, it would affect my life in this way because, and so on and so forth. So well done, guys. Okay, more practice. We have 9 totals. Actually, I found a lot of examples, to be honest, guys, but yes, there is only so much we can do in the time given. So I will present the next 3. Same activity, guys. 30 seconds, react. What kind of task and skill is this suggesting? Okay, these are the next ones. Take a look, guys, and please react to them. Okay, start looking at some reactions already. Let's take a look at that. Okay. 4 is analyzing. Patty says yes, 4 is a hot, analyzing, evaluating. Nancy, 5, it's a lot, is comparing. I concur, yeah, well done. 6 is a hot, solving a problem. Okay, good, guys. Okay, do the others agree? So very good ideas, guys. Excellent. I think that you're actually nailing it. Yeah, 4 and 6 are hots, according to Leticia. Yeah, so and number 5, I think some people have identified this as a lot. Okay, so let's take a look at my suggested answers. Yes, and let's see if we agree to this. Yeah, I think that actually, yes, this is the thing. And again, it depends on how you see the activity. So take a look at number 4. Record the dates about rainfall on the graph. You have a graph with all the information. Yes, you have everything. And the only thing you have to do is like, decide which data goes on the x-axis and decide which. So this is only classifying. But maybe if you want to take it to the next level, it's like, explain the following. Explain why this data impacts on this country, for example. That can be, yes, the very next level. But the other two, actually, you were correct, guys. Yes, number 5 is simply comparing, and number 6 is a problem solving, so it's a little bit harder. Well done, guys. Last 3 of the day, and let's see if you got them all correct. Again, 30 seconds and react to them, please. Okay, I begin to see reactions. Nancy says 7 is a lot, is ordering. Arturo, I really like just the initials, lot hot, okay. Patty says lot hot for number 8, justifying. Okay, so this again, this opposes Arturo's idea. Let's see. Don't worry, it depends. It is not easy, guys, but it should raise our awareness in terms of choices we make with regards activities and tasks we give students. 8 says hot is creating. Yes, look at the table of imports and then list those which have increased. Are we creating? Yeah, okay. 9 is lots, it's a list. Okay, good. Leticia, lots, hots, and lots. Okay, guys, very good answer. So let's see the suggested answers. Yeah, let's take a look at those. Oh, I have the last participation. Patty says 9 is lot, is just listing. Yeah, okay, guys. So these are the suggested answers. So you have lot, hot, and lot. So the majority of you were right. So sequencing is like you see, so you only put them in order. And then how would you change? That's more demanding. Then look at the table of imports and then list those. So that's easier, right? So, okay, guys. So again, how do we translate this into our everyday teaching? If you have recognized that you are giving students a lower order thinking skill, yes, task, they might need less scaffolding. This is the main thing to take from today, guys. But if you are giving your students a hot, as it is hard, maybe they might need an example or more guidance, yes, or longer instructions. They might need more scaffolding than they might need in a lot. Does that make sense? So this is one of the main things that we need to do. So depending on the level of difficulty, we need to think about the depth, yes, or the need of providing scaffolding, guys. So considering all of this, guys, so which skills have you identified as being used in your everyday teaching? Have you used all of these? Yes, or have you recognized maybe now that you have not used some of these? So like one thing that I remember not using a lot of, guys, was evaluating. More often than not, I did not ask my students to evaluate. I was very keen on matching, yes, ordering. And then I just noticed that I was kind of limiting my students' abilities because more often than not, I was giving them lots of lots, excuse the repetition here, and I was not giving my students sufficient HOTS practice or exposure to begin with. So what's happening in your lessons, guys? Is this the case? Or maybe in your case, it's the other way around. Maybe now you realize that you're giving your students more HOTS and they need a little bit of lots so they can scaffold and transition from easier tasks to harder. Okay, so we have Nancy says, well, depends on the student's level. I totally concur. Yes, definitely. Most of the time, low level. I do not use evaluating. Yes, bad. I know. That's okay, Nancy, but that's actually the beginning of changing or making changes in our teaching. It's analyzing, thinking what we are doing, or more importantly, what we are not doing so we can implement it, right? Arturo says it depends on the student's level. Absolutely. So obviously, the lower the level, yes, we think more of lots, and the higher the level, we think more of hots. And still, guys, yes, you can think that even when you are teaching maybe low level learners, there could be a little bit of a challenge, and you can give is not the hardest. So give it a think. It provides, yes, scaffolding, yes, provides students, yes, with the possibility to develop, yes, their cognitive skills. So we need to think of these skills, guys, as the other skills that we are, I'm sure, familiar with. We are very familiar with like reading skills, writing skills, and the like. But sometimes we are not paying too much attention to thinking or cognitive skills, like which ones am I actually giving my students a chance to develop? We need to provide opportunities for students to do this. All right, so the main idea I wanted to provide you guys with, yes. And I have a final question, because I really like, yes, reading how this impacts every single one of you guys. So I have this one. Was this information useful? And which for you guys, yes, which most of an item of information context, please? You are teaching, for example, models, information that immediately tomorrow it's like, I understood this now, to apply it, my context is, adults. Or maybe the other way around, I teach business English lessons, so definitely I need to give my students more HOTS exposure. They need, yes, more demanding tasks, and it's something that I had not realized until now. So I would like to this question is the final in this webinar, guys. So what beat was most important for you, and why? Yes, you mean the context in which you are teaching at the moment, so it makes better sense, right? So take maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute, guys. It's okay. Is the last like to how useful this information was and how it relates to your personal context, please. All right. Open the chat and I will just react to your comment. Okay, so thank you. Can you hear me? I think that I got disconnected for a second.
Yes, all good. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, I saw my computer telling me like, yes, your connection is rather weak. Thank you very much for letting me know. Let me share this again. Okay, can you guys see this? Okay, so that was the final bit, guys. So apologies on the connection, but I'm back. All righty, so I want to hit this. Okay, everybody says I lost you. Yes, okay, excellent. So again, please react to the final question, to the final comment. Thank you very much for writing the yeses, that you can hear me. I just would like to, yes, read your final comments on how useful this information was and how it relates to your context, please. So Patty says, all this information has made me be more aware about the type of activities that I carry out in my classes. Very useful. Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Patty. So that's the idea. So sometimes it's just one thing that can make a big difference in our teaching, guys. Yes, but it's only, yes, when we realize it that we can say like, Okay, it's like, yeah, that's true. Yes, it can actually work. Yes, and I haven't used this. So thank you very much, Patty, for your comment here. Yes, and I'm glad that it has made you more aware of the type of activities that you are using in your classes. What levels are you teaching, Patty? I would like to also read that if you don't mind, so I can actually even understand your context better, please. And I will give you some more seconds, guys. So yes, if you want to write something. Jacqueline says, I agree with Patty, thank you. So Nan says, of course, I love the words lots and hots. I'll definitely use them to remember. By the time I'm planning, for sure, it's necessary to low or challenge them. Yeah, sometimes we need to go in either direction. Yes, Nancy, sometimes they need more lots or more hots. And that's something we need to be simply more aware of, right? Arturo says it will help for better consolidating lessons. Good point. Yes, I concur with that. Let's say it's always useful to review and remember all this information that we sometimes forget. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes we read information, but it's like, how do I apply it? Or I cannot even remember when I read this or how to use it, right? The most relevant, don't forget evaluating. I like that, Letty. Thank you very much for that. Challenges. Yeah. Nancy says, I mean, it's important to be aware of what we are doing, no matter the level. We should go for HOTS. Yeah, I concur. Give your students some challenge. As long as the challenge, I need to insist on this, Nancy, is scaffolded. Yeah, students should be able to do, yes, different tasks, yes, from easy to more complex, as long as tasks are scaffolded. Provide some help, and they should work definitely. Claudia says it was very useful. It makes me think how I can change activities, balancing lots and hots. Yes, I concur, definitely. It's a very good idea to strike a balance and to use both of them. Wow, thank you very much, guys. I'm glad that a very simple concept, because there is actually not much to say about it, but a simple concept can activate our need to improve, yes, our lessons, guys. So obviously, I mean, Orlando, yes, I'm sure that will give you some more information in terms of like how you can give us feedback. But if you want to send me any personal suggestion, yes, or your opinion about, yes, information presented, feel free to do that, guys. Yes, but obviously Orlando has other means for you also to provide us with some data. So let me stop sharing. And I really want to thank everybody because, yes, you participated a lot, guys. And that's what these webinars are all about. It's about you, and it's about trying to help you guys improve your lessons, yes, and be better teachers every single day. So, Orlando, if you can hear me, yes, now I pass it on to you. Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ricardo. And I mean, guys, with Ricardo, it's always such a delight, to have him on these webinars, because like you're saying in the chat box, this is something that has truly, we hope, has truly helped you and has truly, enlightened your path, towards higher order thinking skills. So, or just simply, like people saying, in the chat box, and I just basically, to reconsider, what kind of work you need to scaffold your activities with, so that your learners can actually benefit from the activities more. So anyway, so thank you very much, Ricardo. It's a pleasure always to have you, and it's such a delight, to have you as the last, I'm not going to say like last speaker of the series, because we're going to be running more series. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like jinxing the whole thing, if I say the last speaker, but as a person closing, this first season, I think that's how I'm going to word it. So thank you very much for that. And guys, as usual, just like Ricardo said, I'm going to copy paste a link to a feedback form. And as usual, this is something that we highly benefit from. Receiving feedback. When you go to that link over there in the chat, you will be able to see this very nice, streamlined, super simple feedback form. And this is something that we always benefit from, so that we can then see well, A, how much you benefited from the session, and B, if there is something else that you think, maybe we could work on, moving forward, and also, what different topics you'd like to explore. Because if you go right to the bottom, you'll see, there's a section for that, where you have to suggest other topics. And just like I said, this is basically, like the closure of this first season. But, that's why it's very important to get feedback from you, because we are going to be running some other interesting maybe seasons or series of like different things, and this is why the feedback would be super helpful. So if you could just spend, just 5 minutes before you go, we would highly appreciate it if you could give us some feedback, right? And while people give us some feedback, I'm just going to be making a bit of an announcement. I mean, it's not a big announcement, because this is something that we have particularly been, communicating, I think, quite consistently over the last year during the pandemic. But we're going to be launching a new website, very soon. This is now going to be the new university website, because we have very many different projects coming now in the final trimester of the year. It's going to be a new website completely devoted to our university, where we're going to have like all of our new programs, including the brand new master's degree in educational leadership. In language teaching and educational leadership, right? So, and this is where we're going to be keeping you updated with pretty much everything that we're going to be doing. So it's still a bit of a surprise, so I'm giving you a scoop, but this is a new website where we're going to be keeping all, the whole of the International House University community updated, right? So expect to hear more about this soon, in the next couple of months, definitely after the summer, but just something to keep you posted on, right? And so just to say goodbye. So guys, it was absolutely delightful to have you here. Ricardo, I don't know if you'd like to say a couple of words, a couple of bye-bye words, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you very much. As usual, it's a pleasure to be part of this series of webinars, guys. And remember that I think that one of the main objectives that we have is to make our lives as teacher easier and to grow together. I think that that's one of the ultimate goals we've got, guys. So it's not me teaching, it's just me transmitting. I always see myself, yes, as kind of a middle person, yes, between information and the teaching community. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for, yes, allowing me to be part of these learning adventures, guys. So thank you very much, Orlando. I know that I was potentially, I don't know, the icing on the cake, as it was the last.
I think you were. I think you were. Yeah.
But I really appreciate it. And guys, again, thank you. Thanks a million. And see you soon. Definitely see you online. Looking forward to seeing you again and working with you, yes, in this series of webinars. Thank you again, Orlando, for the invite.
No, absolutely. So thank you. Our pleasure, Ricardo, and guys. So stay tuned. I just also posted the link to the YouTube channel so that you can, be subscribed to that. Remember that if you are subscribed to that, you'll get automatic notifications of all of these different things that we're running, right? Like sometimes it might be interviews, sometimes it might be webinars, sometimes, it might be like different things, right? So expect more surprises in the final trimester, but we're going to let you go ahead, take a well-deserved break this summer. So enjoy your summer break, enjoy the next 2 months, and we're going to be coming back in September for whatever the surprise might be in the final trimester of the year, all right? So thank you, guys. Thank you, Ricardo. Stay tuned and goodbye, all right? Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.